Today on a new Sprint Ride Option podcast, the New York Yankees go into the World Series. Can the Yankees hitters deal with the Dodgers pitchers? Can the Dodgers superstar hitters run? Oh, we got to talk about the Niners on this one? Okay, we'll talk Niners starting now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option podcast. Oh my goodness, it's a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option podcast. I am back after missing Friday. I'm Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by Jason Aponte. And Jason, you had a good sports weekend. That's pretty cool, right? Did I? The Yankees did. I mean, the Niners. I would say personally, the Yankees going to the World Series kind of runs everything right now, right? Like, is that how you're at, or where you at?
Well, I have to be, based on that. Like, it's less about what what you want it to be. You have to be, at this point, if that's, the fandom that you run on. But it wasn't the best sports weekend. I'll say this. I'll say this. The New York Yankees know how to eliminate Patrick Mahomes.
I love that you have run with that. That's your headline out of all of it, is that the Yankees know how to eliminate Patrick Mahomes, because he's like a 3% owner of the Kansas City Royals or whatever it is.
3%, 1%, enough for me. He might as well literally stand for anything in Missouri, Kansas City, anything. Sorry, you got eliminated, pal. Get work.
Today's going to be I'm going to say it's going to be an episode of the Sprint Ride Option podcast.
It'll be an episode.
It's going to be an episode. Niners lose to the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday, 28-18. There's a lot of headlines that come out of this game. It was a football game, to say the least. It was a game that the 49ers participated in. I think that's a nice way to put it, right, Jason?
Did they?
I mean, we've done this podcast for 5 years now. I think the toughest stretch was the 3-5 stretch in 2022. I think I remember you came out of this podcast, said the Niners season was over, yada, yada, yada. We don't need to get into it. I think this was the toughest game I've had to swallow, and that includes the postseason. Super Bowls, NFC Championship games. Yesterday was the toughest game I've had to swallow in the last 5 years. I'm not particularly thrilled with this football team. It was not a fun watch, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a winnable game, and we'll get into all of that here in a bit. Jason, I know we like the meme of, hey, we write NinersNation.com. I don't like to read articles here because I think they should go to NinersNation.com to read them. But can I read you just my lead into this article? Mike Evans do a thing. I like it. I like it when Mike Evans does things. I have Baker Mayfield. Can I read my lead to my game and review yesterday for this game?
Yep.
No play has been more symbolic of the 2024 season for the San Francisco 49ers than Mitch Wishnowski's onside kick at the end of Sunday's 28-18 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Wishnowski got off to a slow start, like the 1-2 49ers start to the season, by bypassing a tee to lay the ball flat on the ground. After kicking the ball kept spinning, doing a lot of work, like the Niners have had 10-point leads against the Rams and Cardinals. But despite all the spinning the ball did, it stopped after 4 yards, plenty short of the 10 yards. And then I went in to talk about how Niners are 3-4. They've fallen plenty short of their goals already. And I think, Jason, I'll stop rambling. I've been rambling a lot already to start this podcast. I think I've handled it pretty well. We're going into Chiefs games that the Chiefs can't hurt me. So I want you to know that my upset at this game and my anger at this game has nothing to do with the Kansas City Chiefs and has everything to do with the San Francisco 49ers. So I'll leave it there for now because we got a lot of podcasts to talk about this game. But that's kind of where I'm at with this game. I am not in a great mood because of the San Francisco 49ers.
No, I think no play encapsulates the 49ers season more than that failed onside attempt. And the 49ers ran out a punter today to work out. Don't look. Don't get me to going about like drafting kickers and punters and everything, okay? But whatever, you know where I'm going with this. But regardless, look, I think again, this is the issue when you play the Kansas City Chiefs. and we all week. They don't have to be perfect to beat you, but you have to be perfect to beat them. Close enough. And when you have a game, and if I would have told 49ers fans, hey, Patrick Mahomes is going to throw 2 interceptions. He's going to have a quarterback rating of 44, which is 44 points higher than you sitting at home. You'd say, man, the Niners have a really good chance at winning that game. And yet, here we are. Now, you can point to Debo, Ayuk, obviously now ACL, MCL, prayers up for Brandon Ayuk. We'll see you when we see you. I'm not expecting you in week 1. But Patrick Mahomes doesn't have Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster. Xavier Worthy still doesn't learn how to run a route. Travis Kelce is beyond washed. No Isaiah Pacheco. And yet, they have enough to get it done. And they have enough to win the game. So I don't want to hear about, oh, well, they were missing this, they were missing that. Cool. If you can't beat this team in that fashion, in that version, regardless of your outcome, then it almost feels like you never will. And you know what's good about this? I think this is the best part. Is this game reiterated to me that 49er fans should not be worried about the Super Bowl.
No.
Stop talking about the Super Bowl. Please. Stop talking about the Super Bowl. Talk about things that are in front of you. Talk about winning the next game. Talk about getting to the bye week at 4-4. Talk about being able to navigate the NFC. Talking about the Super Bowl is foolish. Doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't, and I'm not. But it's clear as day. There's levels to this shit. That's them. This is you. And there's a gap.
Yeah.
There's a gap. And that's what became abundantly clear after this game.
Yeah, and Jason, you mentioned all the weapons the Chiefs don't have, and people using the Niners didn't have this guy, or this guy either. The Niners had about 15 chances to win that game. And then we'll dive into it later. So that's my thing. Like despite all the injuries, despite everything going into the game yesterday for the 49ers, they had plenty of opportunities to win it, and Brock Purdy simply threw it away. The other thing is, as you mentioned, Jason, and maybe the most messed up stat I've ever read. I posted it on Twitter earlier today, Jason, but you mentioned how the Chiefs don't have to play perfect. You have to play perfect. Patrick Mahomes threw for 154 yards yesterday. That is the third fewest amount of yards he's thrown for in a game in his career. 10 times has Patrick Mahomes thrown for less than 200 yards in a game in his career. Can you guess what the Kansas City Chiefs record is in those 10 games?
9-1.
9-1. The Kansas City Chiefs are 9-1 when Patrick Mahomes throws for less than 200 yards. And Jason, and this will be my transition to the first thing I want to bring to the table, because I do want to start with a positive. I know there's not a lot of positives that come out of yesterday, but I do want to start with one. And then I'm going to get real negative. So my positive, my first thing I'm bringing to this table, what a fucking performance by the defense yesterday. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. There was mistakes, right?
But Andrew, if I said 2 interceptions, if I said passer rating of 44 for Patrick Mahomes, if I said all those things to you, you would say the defense was balling. And what? And at the end of the game, when I did my instant reaction, I literally said that the defense played more than well enough for them to win. More than well enough. And yet, people were like, the defense played good. Yeah, when you're on the field for 60, 70 plays, or you have to keep on going on the field after. You know what, man? Andrew, get your shit off, man. Let me shut up.
Well, even too, I'll feed off of that, because check this out. The Chiefs had 11 drives yesterday. The Niners defense allowed to score on 4 of them, right? One of them not their fault, punt return, horrible punt return, all that stuff. Chiefs had 11 drives yesterday. 4 they scored on, 6 they did not, and then 1 was the end of the game. So that doesn't count. So the 6 drives, the Kansas City Chiefs did not score points. How did the 49ers offense respond? So the Chiefs did not score a point. The Niners offense gets the ball. The Niners offense went interception, punt, field goal, touchdown, interception. How many chances do you need? And I know we're talking. I'm gonna strictly keep this about the defense, because I got a million issues with the offense. I don't want it to leak. I want to be positive. I want to be positive about the defense. I don't want to leak into the offense. Yeah. Malik Mustafa. I know the joke of him getting ran through by Patrick Mahomes is out there. He made it himself, which I appreciate.
I think that's really funny.
Balled his ass off yesterday.
Yeah.
He was so good, all over the place. Six was kind of like the Fred Warner thing I talk about. Six was all over the place yesterday. He was making hits. I thought Nick Bosa had a pretty good game yesterday. I thought Leonard Floyd was fine. I thought the pass rush was good. Diamador Lenore made a play. That interception he made was a good one. I know it was worthy slip, but getting out there and making that play is huge. It's just the Niners defense. Again, as I said, wasn't perfect yesterday. There was mistakes, but it was the best game they've had of the season. I think far and away the best game they've had of the season. The Chiefs 28 points and the offense just can't do it. I'm staying on the defense. I just was really impressed with the defense yesterday. I know Brady and the play-by-play guy were really killing them on getting too far upfield when Mahomes would scramble, whatever, things like that. It's just overall that Niners defense yesterday, it gave me a feeling I haven't felt about them since last season. Let's be honest. I have not felt that good about a Niners defense since last season. And maybe part of it has to do is I saw them do it against the Kansas City Chiefs, a uniform that just hurt me over and over and over again. And I know this Chiefs offense isn't what the Chiefs offense was in previous years, but what we saw yesterday from the Niners defense, especially with how heavily criticized that defense has been, especially on this podcast. This podcast has not been nice on the Niners defense. To see what they did yesterday and just how good they played, the Niners should have won a football game yesterday based off of that defense. And so I wanted to start with the Niners defense because, as I said, we got other things we got to talk about. I want to start with the positives, and I was really, really impressed with the Niners defense yesterday.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect place to start, right? And that's the funny part is this game and this season, and I made the connection on the instant reaction, right? Is you own a car. And your car has given you many, many really good years. You've had dates with women. You've had memories that'll last forever by hanging out with your friends. You've taken this thing on road trips. You own this car.
Mm-hmm.
But when you own a car, you are responsible for fixing things when they break down. And right now, this car is the equivalent of as soon as you get some money, the check engine light comes on.
Yeah.
Oh, but I fixed the engine. But now you got a flat tire. Oh, but I fixed the flat tire. But now my transmission's busted.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the equivalent of someone who is in a sinking ship right now. And there's holes. And you go like this to plug one. Something else pops out. Okay. You figure that one out. You pick this one. Now another one pops out. So 1 week we're talking about it just being, well, the only thing that's constant is that the special teams is fucking terrible. So let's just make sure we reiterate that. That's week to week. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's no different. But when the offense plays well, the defense doesn't. When the defense plays well, the offense doesn't. Yeah. And right now the 49ers are your reliable car that you've done so many good things with, that you've literally pushed to the limits, that sometimes you don't even know how you were able to squeeze the things that you squoze out of it at times. And now things are coming apart because that's what happens when cars last long. Mm-hmm. I do have another positive.
Yes.
Called a big George Kittle game, season high in yards. George Kittle, nice to see you, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. I really like George Kittle's game yesterday. One of George Kittle's plays is one of the plays I'm going to yell about Brock Purdy for. But yeah, Jason, I mean, your car analogies on the dot. Like you already mentioned that you don't want to talk about this team being a Super Bowl team. I don't even want to talk about them being a playoff team right now. I just want to talk about 7 games into the season. This team hasn't played a complete game yet. And that's just unacceptable for how talented this team is supposed to be. So yeah, it's just I really want to shout out the defense just for how good they played yesterday. And yeah, Kittle yesterday, especially in a situation where, a lot of weapons are gone, and then Kittle showed up. But let's okay. Was your first thing Kittle? You want to talk a little more about Kittle before we get into the real stuff?
Oh, I mean, look, I look at this team and I say, how many All-Pros do you need? And it's a running joke, right? Like almost when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Debo has pneumonia. I mean, I'm not laughing at him having pneumonia. I'm just like what else?
Yes. Yes.
What else?
Yeah.
Okay. Debo has pneumonia, plays 3 snaps. Okay, can't play. Brandon Ayuk, ACL, MCL, very similar to Navarro Bowman injury. You're done for the year now. George Kittle is somebody who, when you need something, you can get it from him. And I don't understand why, and this might not be good football, whatever. I just dug into the tape a little bit. I haven't really watched it all because I've been sparing myself.
Yep.
But why aren't you force feeding Kittle every single time when there's no one else on the field? Like, I really don't. I'm really tired of you throwing the football to Ronnie Bell. I'm really tired of you giving us a glimpse of Jacob Cowing and then not doing anything after that. And by the way, just real quick, and force feeding the football to Kittle is what they should have been doing the entire time. I don't care. I don't care. It literally at certain points in that game needed to be fucking Kittle's down there somewhere.
Just something.
By the way, Kyle Shanahan dialed up 2 touchdowns in this game that, if the ball is where it's supposed to be, are touchdowns.
Yep. I know exactly what plays you're talking about too.
The crux of that argument is Brock Purdy had his worst game as an NFL pro.
Yep.
On Sunday. So, yes, again, we look at the situational play calling and we're like, I don't like that. And I said it too. I was like, I don't like that. And then Kyle dials it up and they're just a beat off. There's something that's just off altogether. Nothing has come into fruition like the way they wanted to. Keith Murphy with the donation. At this point, 15 and red are Jordan and Phil. Okay. We just
got it. Yeah. I know what that means now. I got there.
Yeah. We just got to hope Mahoney wants to play baseball for a year at some point. Oh, Mahomes.
Yeah. That'd be nice. That would be really nice. I'm tired of Patrick Mahomes. I'm tired of all that. But Jason, let's get into it. Let's get into the brunt of it. My second thing I'm going to bring into this. Brock Purdy was bad yesterday.
Yes.
Brock Purdy was bad. And I'll go as far to say that he lost the Niners the football game yesterday. Just plain and simple. I don't think
that's bad. I don't think that's wrong either.
No, I don't think it's wrong either. You look at the 3 and oh man, there's so much I could talk about right now. The three interceptions. All 3 are on him. All 3 are absolutely on him.
But Andrew, real quick, just because I want to bounce this off of somebody else, because this is what I was getting hit with yesterday, because I said horrific interception and they said that's on Ronnie Bell. Does it make you feel fucking better that it's on Ronnie Bell? It's still an interception. I don't care if it's on the receiver, if it's on the quarterback. It's a horrific interception. I don't care who it's on. And based on that, that's execution. That's on the coach. I don't care if it's on Ronnie Bell. I don't care if it's on Brock Purdy. Who it's on is you not completing a pass right there and you throwing it to the. I don't give a shit. It don't make me feel better that I can say, oh, Ronnie Bell ran the wrong route, so I feel better. I don't feel better about that shit.
Yeah. No, and I threw the tweet out there too, like, hey, is that on Purdy? But that was more out of curiosity. I'm not really looking to assign blame, but if we're looking to assign blame, both Shanahan and Purdy said it was on Purdy. So I'm going to believe that it is on Purdy. And it's just look at the timing of these interceptions, right? 0-0 score after the Chiefs fake a punt. Niners going to stop. Very first play, interception. That's a backbreaker. That hurts right away because you have a chance to do something with good field position. He throws an interception where you haven't watched the film yet, Jason, but I watched a little bit. I watched a little bit. That first interception, Justin Reed, when the pre-snap read is standing on the 34-yard line, he makes the interception damn near in the exact spot he was standing at pre-snap. And it's just like Purdy obviously was like, this ball's going to Kittle the second he snapped the ball because he didn't see Justin Reed. The second interception, I know that's the one we have a lot of people were talking about whether it was on Bell or not. Obviously on Purdy. It's 14-12 near the end of the third quarter. You have a chance to take the lead. Niners didn't have a lead yesterday. And then the third one, probably the worst one, because I know we get the Colton McKivitz hate, but George Karlaftis just had a really, really good route, a really good rep. That would be the word there. And again, Purdy just kind of like threw it to the spot he thought his receiver would be, and he didn't look at where the spot was. And it goes right to a Chiefs defender. All three of the interceptions were horrendous. And then, Jason, you talk about those two throws. This is the first game that really got me questioning whether or not the 49ers want to commit a contract extension to Brock Purdy. I don't know if I'm going to go that. I'm not saying that's my stance yet. It's just this is the first game that got me to think about it. And though the two throws, though, it wasn't even the interceptions. It's the two throws. George Kittle, Jacob Cowing. The Kittle one's 40 yards downfield. And I'm not going to pretend like 40 yards isn't a long way. But it's 2024 in the NFL. That ball's got to be out in front. Because that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. Same thing with Cowing. It's about 40 yards downfield. And Cowing's got to stop. And what happens 3 plays later? Purdy throws an interception. And it's just the reason I have the question of Purdy and the extension is the one theme in the games that he is bad in is it's Spagnuolo, it's Brian Flores, it's who's the other one that they just lost to a couple weeks ago? Jim Schwartz. Flores. It's Schwartz, Jim Schwartz too. It's at some point you're gonna have to win games and beat the teams that you're not expected to beat. And yesterday was that, because it's not like the Niners got the shit beat out of them because they didn't. They might have got their ass beat. I guess that's semantics here.
No, they got their ass kicked.
But that was such a winnable game yesterday. It was unbelievably winnable. The Niners had 7 possessions yesterday. 7 possessions where they were down by 1 score. Do you know what happened to those 7 possessions, Jason? Punt, interception, punt, field goal, punt, touchdown, interception.
Well, when you drop the 4th round punter, you want to make sure he gets used. So I'm not blaming them for that. I think that's a
that's great. That's great. Obviously, yes, that's obviously great. It's just Purdy needs to be better, plain and simple. That is not. I like. To me, yes, he's going to have a bad game here and there. It's going to happen. I understand it, but it was such a winnable game. Like if Purdy plays average, if Purdy is average yesterday, the Niners probably win that game. And so I just, there's a $60 million per year question coming up here. And this is one of the games that are going to be factored into it. Again, I'm not saying don't pay Purdy. It's just, this is the first game I've really had the thought of like, are we sure? We sure this is the guy?
Yeah, and as 49ers legend Chase McLaughlin goes to continue the longest streak of field goal attempts made with 30 straight here. Yes, he did it. This is the point I'm going to make. Last season, it felt like when those scheme throws were there, they ended up as touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And they were completed. I don't want to get too crazy here, but certain years are magical. Certain years are and this is not me sliding Brock Purdy in any way. I still think he's fine. I think this is 100%, just a one-off game, and not everybody's going to be able to be the Chiefs and be able to do all that. Obviously, dealing with what he was dealing with personnel, you have to really take into account the fact that the 49ers had a game plan in place that they practiced all week, and then Debo can't play. Yeah. And then Ayuk's out. Right? Like all that stuff should be in the context. Flat out, the things that Brock Purdy could have controlled, he didn't. And that's the hard part, right? And I think a lot of people have this idea in their head about 60 million and what that is. 60 million isn't like a way to judge the evaluation. 60 million is your going rate.
Yeah.
And it's the cost of doing business in the NFL. It's the cost of doing business in the NFL at the quarterback position. And this is the problem. What do you do if you're the 49ers? You know how you look around and you're like, Miami, how could they pay Tua? Well, you know what? They had to fucking pay Tua because you know what? None of those other quarterbacks can do anything. Oh, why would they pay Jared Goff? You know why? Because the Detroit Lions are humming on offense. There's a tier. There's a tier of guys, right? And it's very small. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Josh Allen. It's Lamar Jackson that are difference makers. Everyone else, week to week, can be changed, moved around, and that includes Joe Burrow. So what do you want to do? The idea that now you're scoffing at the idea of Brock Purdy getting starting quarterback money. The problem isn't what you think he should be paid. The problem is the going rate and what it is in the NFL. And what's your plan to do what? To do what? And get who? No, that's the issue. This is a very much like rock and hard place situation because you can't tell me who you think is going to be better. And you can't tell me that you have a replacement because you don't. They don't allow replacements to run around in the NFL. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to pay the guy, and you pay him the going rate. And if your issue with the money is how much it is, your issue is with the going rate in the NFL.
Yes.
Less than it is anything that has to do with what you're paying the player.
Yeah, and people criticize, you know, I mean, let's go back to the Jimmy Garoppolo deal, the Daniel Jones deal.
Real quick, Andrew. And I like this sentiment. Baker Mayfield starting money will be acceptable. Baker Mayfield is a one-off. Is a one-off. Baker Mayfield's a one-off. That's not the rule. That's the exception.
Baker,
right?
Baker didn't play good in the right time, right? You got it's after the first contract, like it's after your rookie contract. That's when the big extension comes in.
Andrew, I got time today.
Oh, magic talking.
I got time today. Lamar Jackson's a two-time MVP who's about to throw for 4,000 yards for the first time in his season and throw for 1,000 yards, and you're telling me overrated is Brock. I literally just want you to I literally want you to step outside of your box and literally think about what you just said. What you just said.
And,
what are
and
you
don't
saying?
Don't even take Jason Aponte and Andrew Pasquini's word for it. Go look at Tom Brady's top 5 quarterbacks. Go look at Peyton Manning's top 5
It's
quarterbacks.
Insane. The guy's about to win his 3rd straight MVP, and he's playing football right now. He's going to throw 4,000 yards and run for 1,000 yards, and he's super. Overrated. All right, man. You know what? Hold on. We got some super chats. Let me get.
We got some super chats.
Real quick. Hold on. Real quick. Yeah. I saw offer him.
Maybe it's Mayfield. Maybe he's in the Mayfield. I'm going to say Mayfield, so we're going to go with that. And then, Gray Fox, thank you so much. Sorry if you talked about Ayuk injury, same as Bowman. Seriously, doubt he'll be back at the same level. Serious questions. Do you reach an injury settlement when he comes back? I'm not going to go that. Listen, Gray Fox, I appreciate the question. It's a great question. We are less than 24 hours removed from it. I think it's entirely too early. But also, too, something to consider, Bowman's injury. And maybe I'm misremembering ages. I'm going to guess Bowman was good 6 years older than Ayuk.
Yes, and he made All-Pro the next year after that. But it is the same injury. So, look, Ayuk's going to return. At what level is the question? And
and that's the big one.
That's it. And Lamar's a stats accumulator, but not a champion.
That's the one I wanted to pull.
But guys, what world do we live in right now? You know who's the champion? One person.
Yeah, that's my
thing. One person.
We're discounting Josh Allen.
Now, hold on. So now, Peyton Manning's trash. Aaron Rodgers is trash. Ben Roethlisberger, all y'all are trash. Tom Brady dominated. You are living in the Mahomes era. Everyone's gonna be a loser. What do you want me to do about it? That's crazy that people would say that he's not a champion. No one's a champion. But Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Unless your name is Mahomes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Let's get back to Purdy here and kind of the point that Todd brought us off to the side. And it's because, okay, thank you. We put everything into last year. Feels like 2020. Yeah. Time mini rebuild. Mini rebuild is tough because for the exact thing we're talking about right now, the quarterback extension. It's very hard to do a mini rebuild when you're about to pay a quarterback, and then that's tough. I understand the thought. about a mini rebuild, but it's not going to happen with the way this team is built, because a mini rebuild is, I mean, a rebuild is moving big contracts. So who are you trading? Bosa, Warner, Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel, like Trent? Like who are you trading? So that's the thing. So I understand the thought, but yes, 2020 all over again. Mini rebuild, probably not. But I want to get back to Purdy really quick, Jason, just because the point I was going to make about the $60 million number and people saying that's too high. Go to the Jimmy Garoppolo contract. Go to the Daniel Jones contract. Because remember, the Garoppolo contract was the highest paid quarterback contract in NFL history when he signed it, right? I believe so. It was one of those type of contract. It's 2024. When you think you have a quarterback, you need to pay him. And that's just what it is. And the Niners think they have a quarterback. If Brock Purdy gets an extension, it's not going to be a Mayfield level. It's probably going to be the highest paid quarterback contract in NFL history until it's not. It's going to be one of those. So that's why I'm saying this is a game that needs to be considered in that, because it just was so bad. And this is a game that, as I said, it needs to be won, because the Niners had a million chances and Purdy was the reason they lost it. So that's all I got on Purdy. It was just a very bad game for him.
No, he just didn't play well.
Not at all. It's plain and simple. It wasn't fun to watch. I guess I said the 3 interceptions were frustrating, but the two deep shots that he missed were just the worst part of the game. So there's my little spiel on Purdy. Jason, what's your second thing you're bringing to this table?
Kyle Shanahan, we got an issue.
Yep.
We got an issue, Kyle Shanahan. Execution. Based on what, right? Ronnie Bell ran the wrong route. Brock Purdy didn't, whatever. Don't care. Execution. When your team is not prepared, when your team is not performing, when your team is not moving, who do we look to? And we have to look at you. Now you have time to fix it. But I would argue, with a hyperbole, this season is the most important right now for Kyle Shanahan.
Yep.
You've got to steady the ship. You've got to get them back on track. I love you, man, but we have to ask these questions. Where else do we point the finger? Your special teams is an albatross. You know, your defense is good one week, your offense is bad that week. Your offense is good one week, Where? Where do we ask the questions? Stop. It's time. We have to talk. I'm not saying you're firing Kyle Shanahan.
No.
But we have to ask these questions because other coaches have been asked the same thing with many teams, and many of them have eventually been moved on.
Yeah, my third thing was going to be Shanahan, and not even just that, but at some point you need to go out and try and win a football game, right? Like at some point. And you look at Andy Reid, very first drive of the game, they have a 4th and 2 in their own territory and they fake a punt, right? And that's them being aggressive and trying to win a game. And obviously they don't get it. Niners get the ball. Purdy throws his interception. Fast forward to the end of the first half, Jason. Niners have the ball inside the red zone, 5-yard line, whatever it may be. No timeouts. And they're facing a 3rd and 1. And instead of throwing the ball into the end zone, maybe giving you a chance on a 4th and 1, a 4th and 2, whatever it is, they run it. The clock can't stop. You don't get the first down. Now you got to rush the offense on the field. Or, the field goal unit on the field. Shanahan seemed to be okay with going for 3 points in a situation where they were down 14-3. So now you cut the lead from 14-3 to 14-6 going into the half. That doesn't do much. The one that I saw a lot of people get angry about as well is the touchdown out of the half. Down 14-12, you go for 1 instead of 2. Maybe a little too early to chase points. I don't know. That's a conversation we can have if we want. But then Anders Carlson misses the PAT. And now, instead of a chance of a 1-possession game, now if the Chiefs score a touchdown, they're up 9. And guess what the Chiefs did, Jason? They scored a touchdown up 9, 2 possessions. At some point, Kyle Shanahan's got to be aggressive and go for wins. Whether it be going for a touchdown before the half or going for 2 right after, it's just at some point there has to be some level of urgency from Shanahan. And I know it's a conversation we've had a lot about his conservativeness on 4th downs, on 2-point conversions, all that stuff. But man, yesterday, just another thing I felt like really hurt the Niners was just his inability of trying to make something happen. And it feels like I've always hated this saying, but it feels like he plays not to lose instead of playing to win the game. And that's not what's going to work against the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's questions that need to be asked of Kyle Shanahan. That's for sure. And I don't want to put him on a hot seat of any sorts yet, but if this team doesn't if this ship doesn't get straight, like when we get to the end of the season, there's going to be some well-deserved hot seat talk. And that's all I got. I'm not saying I'm going to try and fire Shanahan based off of this season, because I don't think you find a better head coach than Kyle Shanahan that easily. But I think there's a conversation where if this ship does not get straightened, because again, this is the 7th game of the season, and it feels like this is the 7th time we've talked about the exact same game. It's just 3 of them, the Niners happen to be on the winning side. I think there needs to be some conversations about not whether or not Shanahan's the right guy, because I think he is the right guy. It's just whether or not his voice has grown tired within a locker room he's been in for 8 years now.
Yeah.
And so that's my point. So I don't know. I don't know where to go with the Shanahan conversation at this point. This feels like the lowest point, one of the lowest points of the Shanahan era.
Well, the fact that we're even having this conversation should let you know.
Yeah.
And the fact that, look, I think that we can all contextualize and say that we believe that Kyle Shanahan has done amazing things over here with the San Francisco 49ers, and he has. And you can say many teams would blow up their team situation to bring in Kyle Shanahan the minute that he's ready to go. But how much of that continues for you to be the conversation when things are going wrong, right? And Bill Belichick's been fired. Andy Reid's been fired. Bill Parcells has been fired. Coaches get fired. It happens. I'm not saying that he should be fired. I'm not calling for him to be fired. I am one of the people that believes he should have a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
But if I believe all of these things, then I have to hold you accountable when your team is not performing and being up to snuff. Because I think that much of you. And that's the reason. You know what they say, when they're like, oh, I'm only hard on you because, I believe in you. That's it.
Yeah.
So I got to be hard on you if I believe in you. Yeah. And that's what's happening right now. Right now, this season, without hyperbole, is the most important season in Kyle Shanahan's tenure.
Yep.
Because he has to show 2 things. 1, that he can steady the ship and figure things out offensively, because seems like people are kind of catching up and doing this and that, whatever, cool. But he also has to show that he hasn't lost the locker room and his voice is not just going unheard anymore. Do I think that's what's going on? No. But rallying this team to get them back after the bye and everything, and you're going to get reinforcements and a lot of things are about to change 100%, you still have to show those 2 things. And I think this makes, right now, the rest of this season, the most important season in Kyle Shanahan's tenure.
Yeah, I don't think I could have said that any better. It's just this team is entirely too talented to be this bad. And I think when we get to that point, it's you got to start pointing, because I know a lot of people want to make comparisons to that 2022 team and that slow start. This team has legitimate issues. Because if you go back to the 2022 start and you just list the games they lost, and I know off the top of my head, you have the Chicago game, right? You have the Chicago game where in 2022, monsoon, rain, all that fun stuff. You have the Denver game that was just a Jimmy Garoppolo masterclass of just everything that can go wrong. You have the Atlanta loss, which was just Atlanta kind of just running the ball down the Niners' throat, Niners not being able to stop it. And then Kansas City, and then the Niners turned around and they won every game for the rest of the season. This season, there's legitimate problems. Every loss has been the same. Like I just listed the 4 losses in 2022 that I know everybody wants to say, 3-4 lost to the Chiefs. I listed 4 different reasons as to why they lost each of those games. The Niners lost.
And real quick, Andrew, the last time that they lost to the Chiefs, Christian McCaffrey was in tow, and he was about to change the 49ers offense that year.
Yeah, and even that, like I know we could even make that joke of like, okay, he won't be back for Dallas, but he'll be back after the bye week. Oh, they'll get McCaffrey back. Like what McCaffrey?
The 49ers weren't a McCaffrey away from winning yesterday.
Yeah, and so that's my thing is the difference between 2022 and this season is all 4 losses have been exactly the same. Exactly the same. The Rams couldn't come back. They had a lead, couldn't come back, blew every chance they had to win that game. The Vikings probably could have won that game, blew their chance, couldn't close it out. Vikings win. Cardinals absolutely should have won that game. This one, I know they never had the lead, but they had so many chances to take a lead. They had so many chances to get momentum and carry momentum. I just don't think this is as easy as, the 49ers are just going to turn it around. No, I don't think it's that easy. They have very legitimate problems they need to address, because if they do not address them, this team's not even going to make the fucking playoffs, dog. At this point, you telling me right now this is a playoff? Like, look at the NFC playoff picture, Jason. NFC playoff picture. I'm just going to list it in order right now. A lot can change. In a 1v1 football game right now, can the San Francisco 49ers, right this second, can the San Francisco 49ers beat the Detroit Lions, your number 1 seed?
Today, no.
Can they beat the Washington Commanders?
Yes. It's Cliff Kingsbury.
Can they Buccaneers?
That one's a little bit tougher. They're actually looking really good. In fact, unfortunately, Mike Evans just looked like he has a very substantial injury to his hamstring.
Oh, he does. Okay, so let's just say no for shits and giggles for this.
Well. I think they still can beat Tampa, but okay. I mean, again, if we're looking at it, and I guess this is the only thing, and this sounds like hopium. Who you're going to be facing? They're going to be substantially different. Like there's about to be a bunch of injuries.
It's just right now. It's just I don't see this as a playoff team, man. That's just what it is.
Yeah,
and it might be dramatic, it might be drama, but at the same time, it's week 7, man. There are on the flip side of my argument, there are 11 more weeks to turn this around. It's not going to be as simple as, the Niners always start slow and they're going to turn it around. It's not that simple.
Yeah, but this season's not the same, and this is exactly what Keith is saying. This does feel different than 3-5 in 2021. Right now, yes, this does feel different, and it feels different because of the circumstances, the schedule, everything, right? I'm not big on the vibes are off, but the vibes are fucking off.
Yep.
Everything about this team feels a little bit different.
Yep.
So me hanging on to history and saying, hey, history is a good predictor of the future. That's true, but something about this doesn't feel the same. And you know what? Going back to that season where Andrew was there and he was like, Jason said the season was over. And ever since I said the season was over, they went crazy. You know what? I'm not saying this season's over, but this is a much more uphill climb. Like they made a move for Christian McCaffrey. The first time that he ever took snaps with the 49ers was in that game against the Chiefs. And then after that, the rest is history.
Yep.
The man went crazy. But what is that to this team now? And I don't think they're a Christian McCaffrey away.
No.
I don't think they're a Christian McCaffrey away. They certainly weren't a Deebo Samuel away, and they certainly weren't a Brandon Ayuk away yesterday. They weren't. That's the part that I have. You can contextualize. You can say this, and this. Sure. But you can't believe that in your heart because it's happened before with different circumstances and different players, even if it is the same organization, team, and coaching staff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is as I said, this is probably the lowest I've felt in 5 years of podcasting.
Wow.
Because
really? Even during 2020 when we first started?
2020 was I mean, I guess that's fair. That was
year.
low for several other. Yeah, fake year. I'm gonna throw that one. It's just that one just doesn't count.
Fake year.
It's just. I like to try and come onto this podcast and be the positive one, right? Like I think that's kind of what I'm known for at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm struggling to find any positive to come out of that because it's just I just want one complete game, man. I just want one complete game where it feels like you guys are making the Niners look like the Jets. We are a good team that can beat anyone except the Vikings or the Chiefs. Okay, so what about the Rams?
Well,
what about the Cardinals?
Unless you're talking to people in the chat. So I want to make sure I say this. Like if you're talking to people in the chat, that's something different. But man, look, as sad as we are right now as 49ers fans, don't ever conflate us with understanding what the Jets are and what they are. Like, absolutely not. No chance.
Because and even too, like, if he is talking to us, like, yeah, we might be making them look like the Jets because the Jets don't have any expectations going into this season. They could say they're a playoff team all they want, but there was a lot of question marks. Are you trying to say that it's completely acceptable that the 3-time NFC champion coming off of a Super Bowl appearance, 3-4 49ers have looked amazing, and we should Jason, actually, let's hard restart the episode. Jason, New Sprint Right Option Podcast, 49ers lose 28-18. That was pretty fun. It was amazing. The Niners look so good, right? Like, everything went well. And that, like, what do you want? Like, what do you want from us? Because you cannot pretend this is an ideal situation. Hey, Jesus, I appreciate the comment. And then if you are talking to the chat, that's fine. But, like, you cannot say that this is a good situation to be in. So, yeah, I am going to act like the Niners are the Jets. You know why? Because they're playing like the fucking Jets right now. And that's just what it is. And the only reason the Niners aren't getting the attention the Jets are getting is because they don't have a quarterback who goes on a podcast every week and says the craziest shit. And he doesn't have a quarterback who blames the media every time something goes wrong. They're also not from New York, and that's why they don't get that attention. But, like, to sit here and say, like, we should just be fine, or not fine, because you didn't say that, Jesus. I'm apologizing. I'm putting words in your mouth. I don't want to do that. But to sit here and act like they're not comparable to the Jets right now, the Jets are one win away from having the same record as the 49ers. Like, what do you want? What do you want?
Look, and all right, if you want something that is going to make you feel really good and warm and fuzzy inside, is this. The NFC West is fucking trash.
Yes, thank you, Jay. There we go. I like that. So let's make it positive. The NFC sucks. Talk about it.
The NFC West in particular.
Yeah, NFC West. Sorry, I forgot a word. Important word there.
NFC West in particular is fucking trash. So, hang your hat on the fact that, it could be a season where we all predicted 13-4, 12-5, but you don't get that many wins, but you still end up as the NFC West champion. And I think, again, if you want more hopium, the reinforcements come, the 49ers start to look like themselves at the right time, and then they end up being healthier somehow than the opponents that they face all the way down the stretch. So for now, you feel like, things are looking bad, but the 49ers are a playoff team still, even if they don't resemble one right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a numbers game, and it's going to be way harder than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, if the 49ers get themselves and their reinforcements back, and then they, we'd be having a completely different conversation. If the 49ers do what I think they're going to do on Sunday and beat those trash-ass Cowboys, they go into the bye 4-4, and then they get out of the bye, and, Feliciano's back. Well, he's starting at center now. Oh, well, Christian McCaffrey's going to be limited on some snaps. Oh, okay, we're getting him back now. Oh, Dre Greenlaw's coming in a few days. Oh, okay. You've got to look at it like they could be the team that, is eventually the team that has to go on the road and win a bunch of games and is the team that nobody wants to play, all that stuff, whatever it is. Like, nobody wants to see the Niners, right? Whatever. No. At this point, you have to hang your hat on that because there's no shot at them winning the number one seed. So they're going to have to go everywhere. They're going to have to go everywhere to beat everybody. But you're talking about the playoffs. So right now, they just got to get themselves back to normal, like neutral. It isn't like stop talking about playoffs, stop talking Super Bowl. What I mean is the 49ers, based on the NFC, are still a playoff team. It's Philadelphia looks like trash. I don't care if they beat the Giants. Green Bay, fine. I'm not like super overly concerned. Minnesota has our number. I don't want to go to Minnesota. That's not good. I don't want to play Detroit. But I'm not scared of Atlanta, Seattle, like that. That's the thing. It's like all you have to do is take care of your own business. That's it.
Yeah. Brian, thank you. Can we beat them though, Jay? Who's them? Did you specifically mention?
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean that was my kind of question too. Can they? Because like. Jay, hey, Sue, man, we just said sorry that you're, and then you got to go Dodgers in 5. Come on. We're just trying to. I even got the Yankee hat on.
Hey, you know what's sad? Is the amount of people that are going to be hurt about a team that is never worried about you. That's crazy to me. Y'all hate the Yankees, and that shit is such a one-sided beef. Y'all beefing with somebody that nobody. We do not care. We do not care. Look at us. Look at you. We don't care. You beefing with a team that does not hate you back. People are like, oh, we got beef. It ain't beef if it's just you that's mad. It's just you that's mad. We ain't mad. We don't care. Fuck out of here. Dodgers in 5.
Jason, you want to get to 3 stars? I don't think we got all full 3 things, but I think we've talked about a lot in this podcast.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I want to walk back. Yes, I don't feel like the Niners are a playoff team at this moment, but that does not mean I do not believe they're going to make the playoffs.
Niners make the playoffs.
As I said, there's still 10 games left. There's still plenty of time left to write this. They're going to make the playoffs. Just right this second doesn't feel good, but thank God the season doesn't end in October. It ends in January. So. Jason, 3 stars.
Brian meant, can we beat anybody in the NFC West? That's a really good point. I'll shut up. He's right about that.
Hey, they beat the Seahawks.
They did.
Yeah. Hey, Ariel, thank you for the super chat. Do we trade for Calais Campbell? Look to sign Devin White, MVS, David Bakhtiari at right tackle. MVS just signed
with the Saints. Yeah, MVS signed with the Saints. Calais Campbell could be somebody that you could have, but again, Miami's about to get Tua back, so I doubt they're going to start blowing that up. I think that they can get on a run as well too. Devin White apparently is just like a head case at this point. So if you do, then it's fine. But D Winters was out there for a lot of this game, so I think we
good.
Yeah, and he's got some things to clean up, but that's fine. David Bakhtiari, right tackle, I doubt it. Probably. I think realistic trade targets are 2 of them. I'll throw out there. Khalil Herbert at running back to back up just in case whatever happens with McCaffrey. And Deontay Johnson of the Carolina Panthers, a separator at X. That would be excellent. Somebody who would thrive in this scheme and with Purdy's accuracy. And shout out to Jesus, and he says, great video, guys. Thank you for the channel. Thank you for the banter. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Jason, 3 stars.
Yeah.
My number 3 star, I'm going to go Ricky Pearsall.
Nice.
Statistically, 3 for 21, whatever it is, what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard. He got shot 50 days ago. Back on the
field.
Now
he's got to play a lot too now.
And now he's going to have to play a lot too. But I just listen, man. I know. Dare I say it? Not the way you want to start your NFL career, missing the first 6 weeks, but getting back out there. Just seeing him out there was really, really cool. He had a catch or 2, or he had 3 to be exact. So just a shout out, man. That's a really good story. It's a really cool story. Not only that he's okay, but he's okay to get back into football shape because those are 2 totally different things. So shout out Ricky Pearsall, man. That's huge. That's really. I know we haven't talked about it much on this podcast. I think we like to talk more what's in between the white lines, but that's huge. It's just a huge pickup, especially for a team that really needs anything to kind of hang on to right now. Just having Ricky Pearsall out there was really cool.
100%. Malik Mustafa, number 3 star. Look, everybody's going to make fun of you about what happened with Patrick Mahomes. I think that personally, in my opinion, you don't want to rip him because you know that you were about to get, fined, penalized, sent to the gulag, right? Like, I think that's a lot of like what that has to do with it. So obviously you have this moment that everybody's going to pile on and say, oh, Patrick Mahomes ran you over. Bro, he's a missile out of at the safety position. He's running guys over. He is going to learn. I love Malik Mustafa, man. And I think his response to it, obviously the tweet is perfect because I think that's hilarious. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked. I think that's hilarious. But what he said was more impactful at the locker room, where he said, I've got to be better. There's going to be moments where you get got. It implies a strong mindset. Malik Mustafa, number 3. I don't care what happened in that play. Honestly, pass rush discipline should have been much better. There's no reason for that thing to open up like the Red Sea and then have you in there and you're scared to hit Patrick Mahomes because you know of the consequences, repercussions, and they'll throw you out the league if you touch the golden boy. So I think a little bit of that has to go into that, man. But Malcolm Mustafa, third star, man. Hell of a game, youngster. Keep it going.
My number 2 star, I'm gonna continue the feel good stories because there wasn't much to feel good about. Kalia Davis.
Yeah.
Since the
Big
Niners
man
have
interception.
Since the Niners have drafted him, the only time we've really seen the name Kalia Davis is related to something injury. He hasn't had much injury luck since he's come into the league. He's been a player the Niners have been really excited for. That's why they keep trying to push him out there despite, all the injuries. And that's a hell of a play. I mean, gets his hand. I mean, the Chiefs are driving. They're in plus territory. Gets his hand on the ball, and the ball falls to him. And that's just a huge play to make. And again, it's a player that a lot of us have been excited to see what he can offer on the field, and he just hasn't been on the field because of injuries. And he gets on the field and he makes an impact play. Not only does he make an impact play, he makes it against the greatest quarterback in NFL history, Patrick Mahomes. So I really appreciate it. It's a great play by Kalia, and you want to see more from it, especially from a defensive line that has some depth issues. So Kalia Davis, my second star.
Yeah, and this goes back to what I was just saying with Mustafa, because I see right here, homie's 230, he's 190. Yeah, you know what? Lay out Patrick Mahomes. Drop his ass and knock his chin strap off. Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
And that's the thing, AJ, too. A lot of people were angry about the 30-yard scramble he had because he kind of does that.
That was whack.
He because he's taking advantage of what he knows he's going to get, and he acts like he goes out of bounds to get people to pull up. And I don't necessarily have an issue with it until the NFL starts throwing flags for unsportsmanlike, whatever it may be, because it is, hey man, if there is any little gap in the rule book you can find, take it, absolutely take it. But that's why it's tough to hit him, because if you hit him too hard, it's going to be a flag.
Yeah.
So my number 2, Kalia Davis. Who's your number 2 star?
My number 2 star is George Kittle.
Okay.
Look, everybody wants to talk about what's going on, but I watched 87 run out there yesterday, and I watched the film, on defensively. He's cooked, and you've been better than him for the last 2-3 years, George Kittle. There's a new sheriff in town for sure. Now, nobody can say anything about it, right? It's not Laporta. It's not any of these other guys. It's still you, and you still need to be featured more. In this game, when you lose all of those guys, it has to be you getting force-fed the football. I don't care. I feel much better about that. If you throw the ball 35 times to George Kittle instead of throwing it once to Ronnie Bell, then I feel fine. I'll take my chances. But George Kittle, man, you showed up. You always do, when the team needs you. So, yeah, George Kittle, man.
Let's get through our number 1 stars, and then we'll take Ryan's question here. My number 1 star, I'm going to take Kittle. You should have had a touchdown. Yeah. Jason. But in a game where
the only thing that ruined my parlay.
Jennings is lost. Ayuk is lost. Niners needed something, and Kittle was that guy. 6 receptions for 92. Big game. 41-yard reception. Should have probably been the 70-yard touchdown, but neither here nor there. But I'll go George Kittle.
Yeah. I don't have a number 1 star, man. I'll be honest with you, man. I exhausted my 2.
There you go. And that's why I used Pearsall, because I don't think 3 players really deserved it. And that's okay, Jason. I don't blame
All right, look.
I don't blame you.
The highest graded offensive player for the San Francisco 49ers, according to PFF, was Jacob Cowing. He got 12 snaps yesterday.
Number 1 star.
But you need Ronnie Bell out there so you can run the football, and he's a good run blocker. Okay, man. Personnel.
Ryan, thank you for the super chat.
Kyle Shanahan. Personnel. Right. Come on.
Ryan Reed, thank you for the super chat. Why are people I respect turning sour on Brock now? Seen a lot of talk the last 24 hours about how he's like Jimmy, the like Jimmy is absurd. Yeah. I don't know who said that, and they're wrong, whoever said that. Right. Listen, man.
No, this is good.
Lenore's good too. Lenore, you want to take Lenore as your number 1 star?
Yeah, you know what? My number 1 star, Demo Lenore, man. I never doubted you, Hyena. I mean, you have turned yourself into the best player in this secondary, which normally would be a great thing. It would normally be a great thing. The problem is we've got somebody that I need to be better than you to make everything work together. So yes, Demo Lenore, number 1 star. Way to go, Axel. And let's go Angels.
Cooked or
pre-whipped or whipped. Cooked or whipped.
In reference to what? Am I missing something?
The Niners.
Oh, Niners. Both. I like cooked and whipped. All right, guys. Not a fun one, but wipe it clean. Ideally, a get-right game against the Dallas Cowboys coming up on Sunday. Jason, game 1 of the World Series starts Friday about the time we're going to stream. Have a feeling you're not going to want to be talking 49ers during that time. No. So we're probably going to be looking about a lunchtime episode for Friday.
Unless I'm locked in because I realize what's in front of the 49ers is Dallas Cowboys week. I'm locked in. This team needs to win this game. This team needs to go into the bye week 4-4, which would be an absolute win. I might be so locked in that even game 1, which the Yankees are going to win, will have to be watched half out my eye because I'm locked in with you guys and the 49ers. Some would say, Andrew Pasquini, I've got that proverbial dog in me, and I can do both. Some would say.
Okay. So when we get closer, we'll let you know exactly what time we're going to run it on Friday. We'll see how Jason's feeling. Either lunchtime or normal time. Yeah, Yankees about to win in 5. I like that idea.
No, all right. Can we do real quick like a World Series prediction because it's good. Like this because obviously Friday or whatever. Oh, Kelsey. He meant is Kelsey cooked or whipped? He's both. He's done both. Yeah, 100%.
Niners and Kelsey cooked and whipped.
Yeah. So when we talked about the playoffs early on, right? I told you the Houston Nationals are eliminated. I'll see your ass in the World Series because I'm not worried about the Cleveland Guardians or the Kansas City Royals. And I said the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to meet us there. So we're getting close. Official prediction, Yankees in 7. And they win it in LA. Yankees in 7.
I'm going to go Yankees in 6. Listen, I think their pitching is better. I think their lineup is just as good. I know there's a little more star power in there, but Giancarlo, my favorite thing about Giancarlo Stanton is when he hits a ball, it stays hit. Like it just stays hit. Am I being a little bit of a hater because I'm a Giants fan? Yeah, absolutely. The Dodgers can't win a World Series. So I'm going to go Yankees in 6. I really like this Yankees team. This is a really fun team. The addition of Jazz Chisholm has made them so much more fun for me because there's still part of me of my childhood of like, I hate the Yankees. Yeah, I know, right? Remember when he had like 3 home runs in his first 4 at bats?
I was just like, it immediately makes sense right off the rip. And now I'm just like, dude, you're an automatic out. Like you're literally just, you're out there for the vibes.
Baseball's funny that way, but yeah, I'm gonna go Yankees in 6 just because I'm a hater and I'm not gonna pick the Dodgers.
Hell yeah! Hey, welcome. This is it. This is literally the epitome of like whatever sport you like, the 2 hated teams that you hate the most. This would be in football terms. Let me explain in football terms for 49ers fans. This is what this is. The Dallas Cowboys play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now you've got to make a decision, and you hope both of them lose. This is where Giants and 49ers fans are right now with this series. And for once, my Yankees are on the other side of it, and you guys are siding with the good guys for once because you don't want to see the Dodgers win it. I'm so confused.
Oh man, so much Giants talking points would be lost if the Dodgers win this World Series because they really like to talk about that 2020 World Series. Threw up in my mouth a little thinking Dallas KC. Yeah, Dallas KC, that's a good comp.
Dallas KC is literally the comp for 49ers fans because again, like I talked about this many times. I didn't hate the Patriots and Tom Brady. They didn't do shit to me. They didn't do one thing to me. But Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes has victimized me. What did I do to you? I used to like you, Andy Reid. I didn't do shit to you guys. Why do you keep doing this to me? So yeah. It's the same thing. And Dallas, you already know, is up whenever we see y'all. So Dallas and KC is literally Yankees-Dodgers for 49ers fans. 100%.
You mentioned Andy Reid, man, and I so badly want to feel good that he
off
finally.
The well, no, off the bye.
I just wanted to be like, I just wanted to be said, like, I want to feel so good that he finally got his first Super Bowl, and then I remember who it was against, and that's just like, it sucks. Andy Reid, same thing. Like, he didn't do anything to me for the longest time, and I loved him. And then he all of a sudden did something to me, and I can't celebrate it. And it's just like, okay, cool, man, that's great.
It's like Tom Brady didn't do shit to me. Not a thing. So I'm just watching the Patriots from afar, like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's neat. I wish that was my team. You know, like, but Patrick Mahomes, you're doing this to me.
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys, you've done this to me. That's why we don't fuck with you, like, at all.
Yeah. Jason, it was a fun one. I mean, it wasn't a fun one. We talked 49ers football. I had fun. I had fun talking to you. That's what I had fun with. I had fun talking to you.
Hey, we got to get it out the way. This is the thing, Andrew.
Yes.
Everybody always thinks like, oh, y'all not going to pop out. You can't win, lose, or draw. We got to show our face, right?
Yeah.
Does that take some of the sting out of it? Maybe, because regardless, like I can't just be like, oh, well, I'm not doing any shows this week, or I'm not going to write, or I'm not. No, we got a job to do.
Yeah.
Right? This is our job.
I got to write my second article on this game tonight. Like,
so we got to pop out. We always got to pop out. We always got to be here and do it. Like, you know, that's it. You know, so that's why you can count on us to at least be here. You may not agree with what we say, but we're not going nowhere. We don't duck the smoke because we can't.
No. Podcasters, Jason Aponte, we got to show our faces. We got to tell people what we think. I had fun. I changed my mind. I had fun talking football with you, Jason. I always have fun talking football with you. Let's hope we got a few Yankees games to talk about, good Yankee games to talk about, and keep that vibe going for a few more weeks. If the Niners don't want to pick up the vibes, at least we'll have the Yankees on this podcast. But Jason Aponte, we had a good time today, as always.
Let's go Niners. We're fine. Everything's fine.
Let's go Niners. 10 games left. Plenty of time to turn this bad boy around.
Everything's fine.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.